It seems pretty clear to me this was not George's project. This was Filoni's. And it is a dumpster fire. And we still have 2 seasons to go. One of which a lot of fans, even Ahsoka fans, agree is just complete and utter trash. A lot of people blame Disney for season 7 being the way it is. It's like, no! Seasons 1 through 6 are exactly the same.
The final episode
Season 5
of this horrendous season of this horrendous show.
What is today's brilliant quip? Never give up hope, no matter how dark things seem. Doesn't she do exactly that?
Yeah, no, she does the complete opposite, as always. It's like, are you actively trying to make your show worse by including these quips that stand in complete opposition to what the narrative is?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna go with a solid yeah.
Okay.
Padawan Tano teamed up with the deadly Asajj Ventress to find the rogue Jedi.
Yeah, she was so deadly.
She wasn't
that
trying to find the rogue Jedi. She was trying to find evidence to prove her innocence. The whole time it was incredibly vague what she was looking for. She was just looking for evidence.
Yeah,
like, she's not trying to track anybody. She's not looking for specific evidence. She's just on this vague hunt.
And you talked about this, how she repeatedly insists that it's not a Jedi, it can't possibly be a Jedi. But when it suits her, she'll occasionally throw it out there that, it might have been a Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. But not, I don't
She
think so.
tells
It's definitely not
Ventress
Jedi.
that it was a rogue Jedi. And then she's like, ooh, it might be Dooku's new apprentice. But yeah, other than that, like, the fact that she does not tell Anakin that she had contact with Barriss proves that she's completely ruling out any Jedi. So what she said to Ventress
the fact that she
was
trusts
just
Barriss,
to manipulate Ventress into helping her.
Yeah, the fact that she trusts Barriss in the first place strongly suggests that she has it so firmly stuck in her head that it can possibly be a Jedi. And we saw this from the beginning of the arc. She's like, it's not a Jedi, can't possibly be a Jedi, it's definitely not.
I would have felt if it was a Jedi.
I know.
Again, I have to rewatch The Fugitive. Why aren't we doing that? In The Fugitive, does he have a specific idea of what kind of evidence he's tracking down? I think he kind of has an idea of...
Yeah, he does.
He suspects
He searches for a guy with a prosthetic hand. Because he remembers from the attack that the guy had a prosthetic hand.
Yeah, so he's got something.
Yeah, he's got a lead. He's got a solid lead.
Because, yeah, even when she contacts Barriss and Barriss is like, oh, I've done some digging and I think I found something, she doesn't ask what.
Yeah.
Barriss just sends her to a warehouse and she's not like, okay, Barriss, what am I looking for at this warehouse? Right? She gets to the warehouse, she has no idea what, like, it's like she's expecting to run into somebody and be like, hi, who are you? Oh, I'm the Jedi who blew up the temple. All right, great, come with me.
But yeah, she gets there and she, like, outright says, I don't know what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to find a clue when I don't even know what I'm looking for?
And then Barriss comes and she thinks it's Ventress for some stupid reason. And she's like, why did you bring me here? It's like, well, because you asked me to. Because your friend told you to come here. Why don't you ask your friend, hey, why did you send me here? But yeah, like, the writers just leave you with this impression that it's oh so important that she is on this hunt for evidence. But there's nothing there. There's nothing of substance. And it's, yeah, just another way that the writers just yank you around via emotion rather than giving you anything that's actually good.
Ahsoka faces punishment for crimes she did not commit.
She did commit some of them.
Yep.
Let's be honest.
The Senate believes that an internal Jedi trial would seem biased.
He absolutely has a point. An internal trial would seem biased.
And yeah, you had Republic citizens and Republic troops killed in that blast. And so it's absolutely fitting that she receive a military tribunal because she's a commander in the Republic Army. Like, this calls into the question, you know, which is she first and foremost? Is she a Jedi first and foremost, or is she a Republic military commander first and foremost?
I think it's been made very clear through Ahsoka's behavior throughout the entire show that she is
more
a
of a
military
soldier
force.
Than a peacekeeper.
Yes.
The Council will act as they deem necessary.
Also, another thing I'd like to point out here, because everyone just loves to rag on Mace in this arc, Mace is being very fair. He's saying the council will do what we deem necessary. And this is exactly the same kind of thing that we saw from him in the prequels. So I do at least appreciate that little tidbit for like a couple seconds. He's in character, so hooray.
We need to stand together with Ahsoka.
She was found in possession of nano-droid explosives. This alone is enough to convict her.
This alone is enough to convict her. If she had stayed in prison, she would never have been found with the nanodroid explosives, and they would not have enough to convict her. And they probably would have not expelled her. But she broke out of prison and heaped more guilt upon herself. And now they're kind of like, she ran, which, according to her own words, proves you have something to do with the bomb.
Yep.
And then we found her with the explosives used, and the warehouse is burning down, so it looks like she's trying to destroy said evidence. Now, even if they had the utmost faith in her, that would shake that faith. I mean, like, the very first episode in this arc, their quip at the beginning is, you know, even the smallest seed of doubt can shake the greatest faith. And that's what we're seeing right here, but they're painted as the bad guys. They're painted as betraying her. And, you know, like, all this, and it's like, we did kind of talk about how, yeah, like, a small seed does not shake the greatest of faith. But I think it's completely believable that they would not have the greatest of faith in Ahsoka, given her track record. And then you put this on top, I would be like, done, man, get her out of here. Like,
Hell
it's
yeah.
so obvious.
Yeah.
She should not be a member of this organization.
And again, they completely disrespect Obi-Wan's character by having him try to excuse her. We need to stand together.
Why?
So you
Because
don't
she's one
want
of
her
us.
to suffer any consequences. You don't want to send her to a trial, which would be completely logical.
See, that's the thing. Again, they have this, like, black and white. And so they're like, well, obviously the trial won't be fair. So then by offering her up to stand trial, they're condemning her to death. They're terrible people. So corrupt and arrogant and awful. And it's like, no. If this was a well-written story with real nuance and actual, like, realism in it, their behavior here would be completely reasonable, because they'd be like, okay, she's gonna go stand a fair trial that will, you know, remove any hints of bias or anything like that, right? She's gonna be proved innocent, and we can welcome her back with open arms, and all of us will have our hands clean. And if she is proven guilty, because there is evidence that she is guilty, then she will be fairly brought to justice. That's what we're about.
I hate to reference Ruby as a positive, but this was from the earlier seasons, I believe, before it went wee. So when they're in that tournament and
Emerald affected Yang's perception to make it seem like she was being attacked. And so then she attacked, but what was actually going on was he was just coming up to her being like, hi, y'all, what's up, friend? Good game. And then what she is seeing is he's coming at her to attack her, and so then she punches him and hurts him, right? So everybody saw what really happened, but Yang only did it because her perception was being altered. Either way.
The point is, everyone in her team, everyone who was so close to her, like even Ruby, if I recall,
Was like, why did you do that?
yeah, they didn't believe her because the evidence stood in opposition to what she was saying. Even though they were so close. Why the hell should this be any different?
It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
Especially when you're dealing with an organization that literally like trumps up this idea of like, do not let your emotions cloud your judgment. Don't be attached to anything. And we're all about justice and peace and...
Exactly. Good eye.
Summon Skywalker and his Padawan.
Why did they drag Anakin into it? Because literally all he does is act
An insight.
as... Yeah, he throws a tantrum during the trial.
Basically, they have him, the writers have him there so that he can provide exposition. They want to portray the council as being unfair, but of course they can't have Ahsoka point that out because they don't want it to look like, oh, she's just upset because she doesn't like the way they've ruled, so they have Anakin do it.
You're not helping.
I love how the first thing we see her say to him is, you're not helping.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And like, I understand. Like, it's one of those moments that in a vacuum, I'd have no problem with it. Yeah, him pacing back and forth, being all tense and anxious, right? If I was in her shoes, I'd probably say the same thing, like, you're not helping here, right? Like, so in a vacuum, I have no problem with that moment. But this is Ahsoka, and she does not live in a vacuum. And yeah, given that the second episode in this arc, when she busts out and she's like, you can't help me, and you didn't even try to help me, and now you're not helping.
Wow.
If I was him, I would just be like, okay, well then, like, I'm sorry for trying.
Yeah,
Bye.
she's such an ingrate.
I just don't know what to do.
I don't either.
Oh, you apparently knew earlier. Let me run away and prove my own innocence. You have to trust me. I know what I'm doing. The way she was acting, like, no, I know this is the right thing, and I need to do this. And now it's all like, oh, I don't know what to do either. I'm so lost and afraid.
You were alone with Lettertermand when she died. Can you explain this?
Someone used the Force against her.
Which brings us to Ventress.
I just find it funny that they're like, what happened with Lettertermand? Someone used the Force to strangle her. And they're just like, oh, okay, moving on to Ventress. It's like, what? There's a lot more that could be said there. There's more questions that I need answering there. What do you mean that brings us to Ventress? It's a huge leap. Why don't you ask her, oh, hey, after that happened, why did you break out of prison? Mm-hmm. And then, how did you run into Ventress?
We had a mutual understanding. I thought she was helping me.
Did she?
The tone and the look? He's trying to help you. What the hell is your problem?
The writers have her purposely phrase it in such a way that she sounds more guilty. Why would you say, oh, we had a mutual understanding. I thought she was helping me. Instead of saying, I asked her to help me find some evidence. Barriss had given me a lead, right? Like, usually if like something like you're running over your story in your head, like, okay, I'm gonna tell them like what happened, and they're gonna realize that this and this and this, right? They're giving her an opportunity to tell her side of the story here. As it continues, like, all of her answers are cryptic. Instead of having characters do what a character would logically do, they have the characters do what they want them to do for the sake of plot, and then they're like, see, look at these terrible characters. I don't know how else to put it. They want to make the Jedi Council look bad, but they make them look better because what they're actually giving us is completely reasonable for them to take this path, but they're like, no, see, they're bad guys. Can you believe that they don't just, Ahsoka, you know what, we know you. You're our friend, so screw what anybody else thinks.
Wow.
Screw what the evidence says, screw what even you are saying to us. We know you're good deep down inside, and so we're gonna just completely throw out the Jedi Order's reputation, which is already on rocky ground, just for you.
For a stupid little Padawan. Because that's totally logical.
I hate everything. I think it would be vastly more interesting if they had Ahsoka say something about Barriss here.
Exactly.
And then they're like, wait, where's Barriss? Does anyone know where Barriss has been? And then either this episode or another episode, like, obviously I would change the first few episodes too, but like, I would make it more about this like manhunt for Barriss, and Ahsoka has to chase down her friend, or, you know, like has to worry that, oh, she was trying to help me and now they've completely misunderstood and they think Barriss is responsible. Like, that would be vastly more interesting.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
then you would actually have this moment where they catch Barriss and they find out, yeah, no, she is the one responsible for this, and Ahsoka's just like, no, it has to be right. Can't have been Barriss. Like, what happens to me is now happening to her. And then she witnesses Barriss's trial, and Barriss just like lays it all out, like confesses to everything, and she's hurt and she can't believe that like she was totally fooled, and except like that would be so much more interesting to watch.
Did she help you acquire the nanodroid weaponry found when you were apprehended?
I will grant that that's a loaded question, because he's like, did she help you acquire the nanodroid technology? It's like, no, because they weren't in my possession. But if she just says no, then it's like, oh, so somebody else helped you get them.
I was set up and deceived, as you are being deceived now.
Who is deceiving us? Ventress, you, or someone else?
I am not deceiving you.
She gets so worked up. Why? They're giving you an opportunity to tell your side of the story. They're just asking you questions. Again, this is a perfect opportunity to bring up Barriss. When I was found with those weapons, I had just found them myself because Barriss did some digging and she led me there, you know, as a clue. Instead, her response is, no, I was set up and deceived as you are being deceived. It's like, she essentially attacked them.
She was being set up. If that's what she thinks, then the
Why
very
doesn't she bring up
logical
Barriss?
explanation would be that Barriss was the one who set her up.
Barriss or
Because
Ventress
Barriss told her to go there.
And then, yeah, they're like, well, who's deceiving us? Ventress or you or someone else? I'm not deceiving you! And it just brings you back to, like, when Anakin was like, oh, if you run away, you're gonna make yourself look more guilty, right? Because you already look guilty, and this is making you look more guilty. And then she freaks out, I'm not guilty! It's like, I didn't say you were. I said you are making yourself look more guilty. And then, instead of focusing on them saying, well, is Ventress deceiving or someone else deceiving? No, she focuses on, I'm not deceiving you!
How dare you? I am so perfect and amazing and precious. Worship me.
Clouded by the dark side. These things are, but not just surrounding you. Surrounding many things.
This whole thing from Yoda is like, how is this relevant?
I think he's trying to, like, calm her down, right? Yeah, like, don't get frustrated. Everything's clouded right now, okay? We're just trying to sort this out. You gotta talk to us here. That's the impression I get.
This meeting is just a formality.
What? How did you get that out of what Yoda just said? What the heck?
I don't know.
It's literally the writers just trying to shove it in there. Oh, the council is bad and they're not being fair and this is just terrible and poor Ahsoka. Ah!
They just rush through this whole thing. How is this even helping? Like, because that'll get Ahsoka even more worked up, right? She'll be freaked out now. Like, they're not even here to listen to me. Like, I thought they were here to listen to me. And and it just brings everything to an end because, after this, Yoda's like, he's kind of right. We've already made up our minds. We had an interesting discussion actually on our Discord about this bit of the arc where, like, there are women on the council and they are not shown in this arc. In this meeting, you kind of see one of Shakti's Montrals in, like, the very edge at one point. You don't actually see her face at all. She has no lines. And then there's no other female Jedi present, or at least that you can see. And they certainly have no speaking lines. It's all the men against Ahsoka. And then at the end of this episode, when they're all apologizing, again, it's all the men. There's no female Jedi present.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, isn't that interesting that they have this... Let's ignore the fact that there are women on the council so that we can make it look like the council are a bunch of sexist dudes because it's all these men against our female power character Ahsoka, because that, you know, she's their girl power character.
How do people miss this? It's so bloody obvious that Ahsoka is the girl power character. They're constantly shoving it in the audience's face.
I don't agree with people who are against Rey because they're like, oh, well, she's a girl. Girls don't belong in Star Wars. Like, that's
that's stupid.
But I also, don't understand people who are like, you know, so what if Rey's a girl? Like, that doesn't matter. It's like, okay, well, it doesn't matter up until the point that the writers make it matter. And the whole marketing around the sequel trilogy was like, look, she's a girl, go. And then they put her against these male characters, and she just shows them up and shows them up and shows them up and shows them up. Now gender's a problem in this story, but not because we're sexist, but because you're kind of sexist. Like, you make it all about her gender, and then you make it that she's showing up another gender over and over and over and over again to kind of hammer this point home. Like, you're the ones being sexist here, we're just the ones pointing it out. And we've already kind of talked about this in our series. Like, back in season 1, Luminara and Ayla, they're the only ones who stand up to Ahsoka.
Yeah.
But the problem is, she spends the majority of her time around Anakin and Obi-Wan, and you can't have a man telling Ahsoka what to do, because Tarkin tries to do that, and he's a bad guy, right? So they can do it with him because he's a bad guy.
I think they kind of do that a little bit
here as a bad guys.
With Anakin too, because there have been moments where Anakin did push back against Ahsoka, but yeah, either in the end they painted him as stupid,
wrong,
or they just
he has to learn his lesson,
or they just gloss it over with, well, we all know what happens to Anakin. He turns evil, so that's informing his character now. He's evil because he said no to Ahsoka.
The show
It sucks.
I was gonna say great.
Absolutely sucks.
But
garbage fire.
See, okay, what was that face? Was Obi-Wan like, ah, dang, he figured us out? Or was that like a, wait, it is. I thought we had agreed to do a fair trial. Like, what is that face?
Well, I mean, this entire trial is offering Ahsoka more of a chance than she deserved. Because they were trying to kind of be like, we're giving you a chance to explain yourself, please. Like, this is the last chance you will get. And she's like, no, I'm not telling you anything. And you guys are being deceived. And I didn't.
When you talk to someone and they just give you one-word answers, and in your head you're just like, I'm trying here, trying really hard here.
Yep.
So frustrating. And like, yeah, if I was in their shoes, I'd be like, okay, I tried.
And yeah, it just hammers home the fact that Anakin is not helping. I gave the court a seizure.
Obviously, Obi-Wan's not in total agreement. They've made that clear. But like, what about Plo Koon? What about Shakti? What about anybody else? What about Ki-Adi-Mundi's there, but what about that other guy who was like, she was found in possession of the nanodroid technology, like, that alone is enough to convict her. Like, why isn't he here? Where is everybody? You've got like a semicircle of 5 people plus Shakti. Because, like, no, literally.
She's
like,
not even relevant.
She's not relevant at all.
Yeah.
You don't even get a close-up of her kind of looking to the side as people are talking. Like, you don't see her at all.
Your Padawan status will be stripped from you, and you shall forfeit all rank and privileges within the Grand Army of the Republic.
This should have happened all the way back in season 1. When she pulled the crap she did in Storm over Ryloth.
Season 7.
She gets it all back in season 7.
Back.
Literally, the only thing she doesn't get is the title. Like, I swear.
Because, like,
we've talked
Anakin
about this
literally
before.
is like, oh, let's put her in command. And Obi-Wan's like, well, she's technically not supposed to have command. So he's like, okay, well, we'll promote Rex and she'll go along as a consultant. And it's so much BS because she commands the entire thing. So it's like, she gets her rank in the Republic military all back, the way Bo-Katan, like, everybody talks to her like, yeah, no, you're back in command.
And we've talked about this before. Filoni wanting to have his cake and eat it too. She's not a Jedi, but she is one, actually. She's totally a Jedi. She has all the privilege of a Jedi, all the power. She talks like a Jedi, at least in Rebels she does. In this show, she doesn't behave like a Jedi at all.
I'm actually really interested to see Rebels.
Yeah, no, I'm so impatient to get to Rebels. But like,
we're
part
so
of
done
me,
with this.
part
Let's move on.
yes, please. TCW overstayed its welcome before it even existed. But like, part of me is afraid that like we'll get into Rebels and Ahsoka will actually be worse than I remember. She'll probably be worse.
Given how she was in The Mandalorian, I'm guessing she's gonna be a lot like that.
She was atrociously bad in The Mandalorian. Oh.
I will do everything I can to prove your innocence, Ahsoka.
Except, have any sort of investigation, evidence, anything like that.
No, that's too much work.
Way too much. I'm a senator! I got stuff to do!
I am almost certain that the person behind this is Ventress.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, in her trial before the council...
Literally the previous scene before this one.
Less than 2 minutes ago, we had, Ventress may be deceiving you, but I don't know, I'm not certain, I can't tell.
I am not deceiving you. I would assume Ventress is, but I can't be sure.
And now, I'm almost certain that the person behind this is Ventress. Why weren't you that confident in the trial? They might have actually, listened to what you had to say and asked you some more questions, figured some more stuff out. Like, that was the time to bring this kind of stuff up.
I thought you said Ventress left before you went into the warehouse.
How does he know this? Assuming she spoke with him off screen, but why were we shown her telling him? He's like, I thought you said Ventress left before you went into the warehouse. So we have evidence that she gave him her story, a much more full version than she thought the council needed to know. But she did not mention Barriss at all. Because he goes to Ventress and he's like, you're the only one she talked to. And she's like, no, she talked to Barriss. And he's like, oh crap. There's this whole section that is completely unnecessary if Ahsoka had simply told Anakin everything. And if anything, if she had told him this before the trial with the council, she might never have been removed from the order because he would have gone to Barriss right away.
You know I wasn't working with her. She was at the warehouse.
And then, yeah, she didn't even tell him that. All she told him was, oh yeah, and then we split up and I went into the warehouse. And she didn't tell him anything more than that until now.
She literally starts out not trusting anyone, but she tells Anakin, oh, but you have to trust me. You gotta trust me. And so she goes off and does her old stupid thing and makes herself look more guilty. And then she finally gets dragged back.
And she doesn't trust him enough.
And she still doesn't trust them. And she keeps telling Anakin, oh, you know I didn't do this and I wasn't involved with Ventress and blah, blah, blah. And then we're supposed to believe at the end, oh, I don't trust myself.
I'd know her red lightsabers anywhere.
What? All Sith have red lightsabers! It could have been anyone! So long as they were in or near, but Ahsoka apparently can't tell apart different kinds of body structures and height and weight and yada yada yada.
I don't have...
So, it could have been any Sith. It could have been Dooku!
Okay, so the thing is, I'm nearsighted, and there have been moments where, we're out somewhere with somebody, and they go somewhere, and I'm looking for them. I can spot them in a crowd simply by their body shape and the way that they walk, because I know them. But Ahsoka, who is such a good friend of Barriss's, and who spent time with Ventress, cannot tell them apart.
Again, it speaks to how crappy of a friend she is.
If she wasn't paying any attention to details like the person's body type, the way they fought, the fact that they weren't talking, like all of those details she wasn't paying attention to, you're telling me she was paying attention to the handles of the lightsabers? No. I'm not buying it.
Let's work on your defense. Forgive me if I'm not optimistic.
And then, yeah, the quip at the beginning. Don't lose hope. I've lost hope.
Everyone except Anakin has abandoned me. I'm not holding out much hope the Senate will treat me any better.
So Padme's like, okay, let's work on your defense. And Ahsoka's like, oh, they're not gonna treat me any better. So are you saying that you don't want to work on your defense? Am I wasting my time? Because if you think I'm wasting my time, I'd be happy to leave.
Padme's dealing with the situation where you have a fallen Jedi, which is already bad enough. And on top of that, like, the Jedi as a whole have really rocky reputation right now. And she already has a really rocky reputation in the Senate. And, you know, people targeting her and stuff like that. And so she's putting her neck on the line, agreeing to represent Ahsoka as her defense. And Ahsoka never even says thank you. She should be sitting down and being like, whoa, wait. You didn't even tell Anakin the whole story. Like, tell me the whole story. I need to know everything.
So yeah, she must keep Padme in the dark too.
Obviously.
What the hell is wrong with your brain?
Writers.
Oh, right. You don't have one.
This is our girl power character. Stupid for the sake of plot. Strong females for the win.
I think I said it not that long ago, actually. If people see Ahsoka as a strong female character, then they must have a terrible opinion of women.
If that's your bar up here, then what do you think most women are like?
Anakin Skywalker.
She knows who he is without even looking at him.
And last time she was approached in an alley,
she's just like, what? What's going on? Oh, I thought it was a person, but it was just a cat. And then, oh no, I got conked on the head from behind, and I have no idea who it was.
No consistency.
No.
Zero consistency.
Leave me alone!
Should already notice something is off, that she hasn't pulled out her lightsabers yet.
How dare you compare yourself to Ahsoka?
Yeah, actually, I agree with Anakin here. Please, Ventress, have a little self-respect.
How is Ventress just like, oh, every word she spoke to me was the gospel truth. She wasn't trying to manipulate me in any way, shape, or form, because obviously my experiences have led me to believe that people always tell the truth.
Oh yeah, clearly.
Especially the Jedi.
Oh yeah.
They're so righteous and good and...
No consistency.
No characterization. No consistent characterization.
Yeah.
My master abandoned me. And that's exactly what you did to her. You and your precious Jedi Order.
The writers just want to lay it on so thick. Ooh, Jedi Order bad, Ahsoka good. Ahsoka victim.
You have been charged with sedition against the Jedi Order.
Does Palpatine know who's really behind this? That would be such an interesting angle! Is he kind of watching Barriss like, oh, look at this, you pulled that off, and oh, another tool for me to use. I can manipulate her, maybe recruit her, like send her over Dooku's way, and he can have, you know, he's looking for an apprentice.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
Another assassin. Krell is all hyped to go to Dooku's side.
Yeah.
We were never shown if he had actually been in contact with Dooku or if he was just, you know, trying to polish up his resume by killing everybody.
I think he was just trying to polish up his resume.
Yeah, that's kind of the impression I got.
This court will decide your fate.
This meeting's just a formality.
Once your accomplices carried out your orders...
But Leto worked alone. And now suddenly your accomplice says... Who's the other accomplice? Are they including Ventress in that? Like...
What?
I don't even know! Isn't it weird also that he's talking directly to her?
Yeah.
Because normally you talk to the jury. You talk to the judge.
Yeah.
You don't talk to the accused.
And since when was Tarkin a prosecutor?
Since when was Padme a defense? That's the other thing here.
Yeah, no,
it's
what
just
the
like,
heck?
oh yeah, I'm just gonna do this on the side.
What?
I ask the court that the full extent of the law be brought down upon you, including penalty of death.
And it's like, oh no, not the death penalty. I believe I've said before that clones have been executed for far, far less.
We saw in the Umbaran arc, they were literally about to execute some clones.
Just for disobeying orders.
And she's done that a million times.
Yeah, and she only got a slap on the wrist for it.
Again, we're not saying that, like, the death penalty for disobeying orders is the right way to go. It's more so that that's the standard in this setting. But they're just playing up Tarkin. Just like, woo, I'm gonna get you. Doesn't he have better things to do? Padme too, right? Like, you already said, like, this is not their day job. Why? Are they the ones playing lawyer? They're such a high rank. This should not even come across their desk. Yeah, because in the earlier episodes, you know, Tarkin is playing messenger, and now he's playing lawyer. And it's like, I understand recycling characters that you already know, getting them to fill different roles, but this is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And, like, they haven't recycled side characters, like, at all.
Not just anyone can sneak up behind me.
Anakin can't sneak up behind her, but Barriss can. Again, how powerful is Barriss?
Barriss Palpatine.
You're the only one Ahsoka talked to.
That's not true. She spoke to someone named Barriss.
So, up to this point, we've kind of been crediting Anakin with saving Ahsoka's skin. And yeah, if not for him going to investigate, then she probably would have been executed because she's stupid and she refused to tell the council anything. But Ventress is also kind of saving her skin here, because if she had chosen to do what Ahsoka did and be cryptic and hold stuff back, Ahsoka still would have been executed.
Yeah.
So Ventress is
she
also
just
responsible.
Been like, you know, if he's like, oh, you know, dead end, you're the only person she talked to, she could have been, well, not my problem. Have a nice day. Which would be more in character.
Yeah, that's true.
I was gonna say, she's like going on like, oh, you know, Ahsoka and me have so much in common, you know, blah, blah, blah. But she's still referring to Ahsoka as, your little Padawan, your little pet, your little brat.
When I heard your little brat was on the run, I was going to catch your pet. After I left your little Padawan alone.
And it's like, okay, what? Like, do you have an affinity with her or not? Like, do you not give a crap about her? Or are you like, no, we're kindred spirits?
And like also earlier she mentioned she went after Ahsoka partially because she wanted revenge.
Yeah, money and revenge.
I was just interested in the money and a little bit of revenge.
And it's like, okay, we've talked about this in season 1, Cloak of Darkness. She has the opportunity to kill Ahsoka, but she doesn't take it and chooses to imprison her instead. Why? And then apparently that one encounter she had with Ahsoka makes such an impact on her that she wants revenge.
I'm not sure if if it's revenge against Ahsoka or revenge against the Jedi in general or revenge against Anakin in particular. That's more the impression I got, that it was either revenge against the Jedi at large, like, I'm your enemy, you look down on me, and here I am bringing back one of your own for judgment. Or yeah, if it's against Anakin or Obi-Wan in particular, in your face, now she's gonna suffer and I'm gonna be happy knowing that you're suffering because she's suffering. So that's kind of the way I've taken it. But maybe I'm just giving them more credit than they deserve.
If she is innocent, then why was she seen conspiring with known separatist terrorist Asajj Ventress?
Literally the only evidence he has against her is the stuff that she created. If she had just stayed put, they would have had nothing. But she freaks out, is like, they're gonna throw me under the bus, and then she makes herself look more guilty, and she's like, oh, they're betraying me. They should know I'm innocent.
Ventress set me up. My master will prove that.
And yeah, Padme's not like, Ahsoka, right? Like, they do in pretty much any other trial ever. Like, there's a reason why your representative speaks for you. So that you don't freak out and start yelling and making yourself look worse.
Ventress thinks someone else is involved.
Who else could it be if not her? Surely not Ahsoka.
Who else could it be if not her? The only other possible candidate is Ahsoka.
Again,
no?
She's trying to play innocent. She's not doing a great job, but she's trying.
But even while playing dumb, you can still acknowledge that there are many possibilities. Why doesn't she point at a different Sith?
What bothers me is the way Anakin is just like beating around the bush. Ahsoka's kind of in the middle of something right now. Maybe we could hurry this up a bit. When it came to Ventress, he literally like charged in and like beating the crap out of choking her and like, but now he's confronting Barriss and he's just like, no, I'm gonna play this cool and calm, and even though I have less time now than I did before.
I think both Ahsoka and Ventress are telling the truth, but there's only one way to find out.
What the heck was he gonna do? What if she wasn't the one responsible? What if he just killed her? What the hell? That was his plan? Ah!
And why does Barriss...
It's a little premature for the youngling killing Anakin.
All Barriss had to do here was be like, he wouldn't kill me. He can't. At best, he's going to swing it at me and stop himself, or I'm going to duck and scream and be like, Master Skywalker, what are you doing?
Why would she out herself? Why?
Because apparently red looks good on her.
Should have gotten rid of them.
I think they suit me.
Stupid! Oh, I like the color red, so I'll risk incriminating myself. What the heck?
I love how Anakin is giving her advice for getting away. You should have gotten rid of them. Not like, you made a mistake when you kept them. No, you should have gotten rid of them. Then I wouldn't know.
But yeah, no, that would have been awkward if he'd ended up killing her with her own lightsaber. The council would have been like, what the heck, dude? Dude, the door saw Barriss come, is like, nope.
Gotta love doors that open automatically when you're getting thrown at them. That's just nice. Convenient, yeah.
Heck?
Why didn't they just have the doors stay open? The writers were literally like, oh shit, the door's closed. Oh, just have it open.
What the heck?
Motion sensing door. All of a sudden, but it wasn't sensing any of the other motion.
No.
Only the hurtling toward it motion.
I'm sure many of you look at this former Jedi and think, surely she cannot be this murderer. And yet, think of all the times we have been fooled by the Separatists, and ask yourself, is this yet another Separatist scheme?
Is he the prosecutor now?
What?
Or is he the judge?
What is this trial?
And he's swaying the jury.
The only thing the Jedi Council believes in is violence.
Says the girl wielding red lightsabers. I think they sued me.
And who bombed your own temple?
And who, like, tried to, like, murder somebody in cold blood in a burning
literally
building.
using violence as we speak.
Yeah, I was getting at that, but, like, you know, framed somebody to the death penalty, like, strangled a helpless woman, had said woman feed her husband explosives. Jedi violence bad, all other violence good. This is the stupidest arc. How do people look at this arc and think that it was peak TCW?
What the heck?
If this is the peak, I'm just beyond words at this point.
Again, what the heck is going on with Barriss's power level? She just recently switched over to using Ventress's custom-made lightsabers, and she's a pro at using them.
Against the chosen one.
Yeah, the chosen
and
one.
he's going out.
Yeah, what the heck? Barriss Palpatine.
Barriss Palpatine.
Barriss Palpatine.
Cease hostility!
Yeah, violence is bad, Barriss.
Yeah. This literally reminds me of Satine. Oh, violence is terrible. Burn everything! The temple guards and Sanube
are just like,
it's okay for the children to be this close to a fight that is completely out of control. Yeah, no, like, they don't give a crap about the future Jedi. Anakin had her at a stalemate. They had their lightsabers locked. They could have joined in at that point.
Just surround her and go pokey pokey, right? Like, you don't even have to actually make contact. You just go right at her back, and she's just like, okay.
Also, the Force is a thing.
Also, the Force
is a thing.
Yeah, Sanube could have.
What the heck?
Done something to help. Wow, he actually used the Force to end the fight, but it could have been used a lot sooner.
The Jedi are the ones responsible for this war.
No?
Jedi have become an army fighting for the dark side.
Really? This from the chick who's like,
I think
red
this
suits me.
They had to have her keep the lightsabers because it was the only evidence, so they have to have a reason for her to have kept the lightsabers. That, you know, to reveal the lightsabers, they have to have this lightsaber fight. And then they have this speech, and it's like, none of this works together.
Barriss Offie, traitor.
Barriss? Is that true?
We get an, Barriss, is that true? And wow. After everything you've gone through, your good friend here turns out to be a traitor who tried to frame you to the death sentence, and that's literally all the reaction we get from Ahsoka.
Clearly it meant so much to her.
No women. Just the 5 guys who betrayed her at her trial.
Shouldn't the whole council be present for something like this if they're reinstating a former Jedi? So does this mean that they literally just gathered everyone who was speaking in the trial, who essentially condemned her, so that they could apologize to us?
And it's so, like, casual, right? They're not in their chairs. It's just like, oh yeah, we're just standing around.
Yeah, no, this should be an official meeting.
You have shown such great strength and resilience in your struggle to prove your innocence.
Nope, she didn't.
She was found with the nanodroid technology. That alone is enough to convict her. You've shown such strength and resilience in your struggle to prove your innocence. You led us in the completely wrong direction, took the focus off a proper investigation that would have caught the actual perpetrator.
They should charge her with obstruction of justice!
Like, at least in The Fugitive, he actually proves his own innocence.
Yes.
But here, it's just, she just bungles everything up and makes everything worse. And then such strength and resilience. Praise be to Ahsoka.
We understand that the Force works in mysterious ways. And because of this trial, you have become a greater Jedi than you would have otherwise.
The attitude. They're showering praise on her, and as soon as it gets to Mace, and he's doing the same as everyone else, giving her a hell of a lot more credit than she deserves, and she puts her back, I'm like,
oh, now you trust me, now you see. Isn't that convenient? Now that you've been proved wrong, you're apologizing. Wow. That's how that works. People think they're in the right. They turn out to be wrong. They apologize. And like, people are like, oh, well, it's such a non-apology. They're like, oh, you know, the Force works in mysterious ways. Well, it does. That's what they believe. And like, maybe you should be like pointing the finger at the stupid writers who made everything stupid instead of, you know, pointing at the characters and being like, oh, such bad characters. It was so obvious that she was innocent because we, the audience, knew she was innocent. And the music.
I'm not coming back.
Awesome! Let's throw a party! Celebrate! Literally, though, that is my...
Plo Koon stops Obi-Wan. Have you ever noticed that?
No, I know.
Obi-Wan starts to follow Anakin. Plo Koon stops him.
The council didn't trust me. So how can I trust myself?
The council didn't trust me. Not anything to do with Barriss, how she turned out to be a betrayer, and Ahsoka never saw it coming, and so her faith is shaken. Like, who can I know is on her side and not on her side, or like, and what she had to say about how the Jedi have like fallen, how we're no longer like keeping the peace like we should. Like, my experiences, I've seen that firsthand. Like, I've seen that in myself, that I revel in violence rather than pursuing the way of peace. Like, none of that. Nothing deep, nothing nuanced, nothing interesting. Just, they didn't trust me. How could they not trust me? And because they didn't trust me, how can I trust myself?
Seemed to do it just fine before.
It's like one of their quips. It sounds deep. It's not. The council didn't trust me, so how can I trust myself? Just because somebody else doesn't trust you doesn't have anything to do with how trustworthy you feel to yourself. And why are you leaving just because they didn't trust you when you helped amass this pile of evidence against you? How can you not understand where they were coming from? Yeah, you're all upset because they didn't trust you. Well, where was your trust in them, right? When you ran off, refusing to speak to the council because I'm not going to take the fall for something I didn't do.
They trusted you way too much. That's the reality
Yeah,
of it.
literally the beginning of this arc is them saying, we put our full faith in you and Anakin to find the true perpetrator behind this. We can only trust you.
I believed in you. I stood by you.
So did Plo Koon. So did Obi-Wan.
This isn't about you.
What the hell? This isn't about you. It's about me. It's all about me.
And like, I know what they're going for here, right? Like that moment where you're saying something's upset you and the other person kind of makes it all about themselves. But that's not what's happening here. You're saying that you were not trusted, but I trusted you.
Yeah.
Like, I went out, I got the answers, I proved you innocent. I knew it was out there and I searched for it until I found it.
And again, Ahsoka is not a character in a vacuum. We've seen this from her how many times?
Many times.
Way too many. That she makes it all about herself because she is so self-centered.
That's as far as her brain goes.
Yeah.
Herself.
Can't see past her own nose. So privileged, so entitled.
And we're gonna see it more in season 7.
Yep.
So it's not like this experience does anything to change her. She should have already, grown out of this like a long time ago, like before this series even started, because she's a member of the Jedi Order, and since the age of 3 has been taught to think beyond herself.
I have to sort this out on my own.
Sort what out? There is nothing to sort out.
This is as vague as her, I have to find evidence to prove my own innocence. There has been no theme, no questions raised of, who am I? What am I outside of being a Jedi? Like, there's nothing there. There's no, like, where's my place in the world? I don't feel like I fit here. Like, there's nothing. The only thing brought up in this episode is, I'm innocent. What do you have to sort out? Oh, right. She's not sure she can trust herself, so maybe she wasn't innocent.
I understand wanting to walk away from the Order.
I know.
And that makes sense for Anakin, because we've seen him struggle with it. We've never seen that with Ahsoka. And they try to have this like, oh, look at them, they know so much about each other, she understands what's going on with him on a deeper level. They never talk about it.
This entire
They
arc
never,
showed the opposite.
They're like trying to show her being like, oh, she's so insightful, right? Like she knows. It's like, no, she doesn't. She's never talked to him. There's been the odd time with Padme where she's like, oh, I see why you two get along. But like, it never hints that she actually understands that there's something deeper there.
And the only time in this show that Anakin was disgruntled with the Order in general was at the end of Obi-Wan's undercover arc when Ahsoka was nowhere to be seen. Why would she know this about him?
times.
And this is the second time in the entire show where she actually tears up. The first time she teared up in the show was when they thought Obi-Wan was dead. And this is the first time she actually cries. She sheds a single tear. You know what this makes me think of? That cinema therapy video where they talk about boys don't cry except when they do. And they talk a lot about how in cinema, men are only shown at most tearing up or shedding that one single tear. That's their quota. That's all they're allowed.
Right.
And here we see Ahsoka displaying the exact same thing. Toxic masculinity in a strong female character. I'm sorry, this isn't adding up.
The other thing I wanted to mention was, yeah, she's like, you know, I need to sort this out without the council, without you. And then we're gonna see in season 6, then the writers throw that out the window that, oh, you expelled me, you said I could become a Jedi, and then you threw me out, and how could you do this? Like, no, she chose to walk away. And they keep like flip-flopping between this, that like, oh, she was betrayed and kicked out. And yeah, because in season 7, then yeah, the narrator's like, oh, you know, she was expelled from the Jedi Order and blah 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 blah. It's like, no, she chose to leave. They welcomed her back as a Jedi Knight. And then the other thing is that, yeah, she was supposed to die. The other thing was that, like, George wanted all the episodes to end the same with the Star Wars fanfare, but Filoni changed it and he made it this sad, melancholy music. This is stuff that George didn't want, but Filoni just did it. And George went along with it because he's just like, I'm too tired to deal with this. He was mentally, emotionally, physically exhausted from bearing this burden of Star Wars and fan hatred after the prequels. And Filoni's charismatic. He knows how to charm people and make himself look the good guy, and so he just did whatever he wanted. Definitely George was involved in the making of the Clone Wars, but there's also evidence equally showing that he was ignored in the process. That what he wanted is not what we got to see. And how much of what we got to see is what he wanted, we don't know. Because Filoni was at the head and he was doing his thing. And how often, if something didn't turn out, did he give the credit because, like, oh, well, George had this idea and, you know, yeah, we executed it this way, but it was his idea, so, you know, but then when it does turn out, it's like, yeah, no, I did this. George didn't want this, but, like, I was like, yeah, we gotta do this, and then he was like, okay, you go with it, and I was, yeah. It seems pretty clear to me, this was not George's project. This was Filoni's, and it is a dumpster fire. And we still have 2 seasons to go, one of which a lot of fans, even Ahsoka fans, agree is just complete and utter trash. A lot of people blame Disney for season 7 being the way it is. It's like, no! Seasons 1 through 6 are exactly the same. You know, like here we are, season 5, and you've got 12 episodes with Ahsoka, and it's just a garbage fire, and 8 episodes in season 7, and it's pretty much identical. Ahsoka's a complete Mary Sue, and the plot is just a complete mess. Characters are not themselves, and it's just garbage. This is not a Disney problem. This is a Filoni problem.
This show is awful, terrible, disgusting. See you next week, of course.